Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela. And I forgot I was going to do this tag tonight. It is by Three Fat Readers. Lisa Pepez, Danny from Danny Mystic, and oh my god. Matter Metaphysique. I cannot remember his name right now. It just left me. Wow. They have a collaborative channel called Three Fat Readers. They did a 6 prompts that are hashtag thankful tarot 2020, hashtag thankful tarot 23. Dustin from Modern Metaphysique. Sorry. I was just like, what? Totally wrecked my brain. But they did 6 prompts, and it's hashtag thankful tarot 23. Okay, so they did 6 prompts. Their video took like over an hour, almost 2 hours, because there was 3 of them showing 6 decks apiece. But mine ain't gonna take that long, and it's shocking because when I just literally reread the 6 questions, and I just whatever I thought of, I threw down, and I'm like, wait a minute, these are weird. Not what I have initially would have thought these decks were for these prompts. So that's quite interesting. So without further ado, let's get into this. So for question 1 is a deck that taught you a valuable lesson this year. Now I don't remember which one I grabbed for that. A deck that taught you a valuable lesson. Let me see here. That was the Dark Times. Workhorse. Hold on a second. Okay, it's what I thought I was putting here, but I forgot for a second. So a deck that taught you a valuable lesson this year, and that is the Uncommon Tarot. What hasn't it taught me this year? This is a mass market deck. It was $20. And I could also put a deck I took a chance on because I was like, no. And then something made me buy it, and I have not hardly parted with it. It's got the silver gilding. As you can see, it's wearing off because this could also be a workhorse deck for me this year. Yeah, it shuffles amazing. These are the backs. First of all, it's stunning. It is a collage deck, and I know a lot of people don't like collage, but this deck is amazing. I bought it specifically to work with not past lives, a mediumship deck, and it did not disappoint. It literally brought my mediumship up to a whole other level of playing field that I had not even realized I was playing on. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is the deck that I started seeing things that weren't in the card. Like I would see this Ace of Coins, and I would be like, oh, I see somebody with a golden wallet, and they're counting their money, and a whole story in there. Like, that's exactly right. And I'm like, what? This deck opened up like a floodgate, my intuition, and was just like, bam, 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 bam. And I'm never wrong with this deck, ever. Everything that comes out of my mouth when I pull a card, when I do mediumship work, it's always dead on. And I just found that interesting. I was actually reading for my neighbor with this deck. And I started telling her, I'm like, I see somebody young. They passed away due to this, and then this happened, and it was getting kind of murky because it was almost like there was a lawsuit and all this other stuff going on still, and it had been like a decade since this person passed. And I'm like, were there drugs involved and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I went through this whole story, and she just kept staring at me, and I'm like, at the end of it, I'm like, does any of this make sense? She goes, it's every bit of it is making sense. So everything I had said she was like, yeah, it's all correct. I don't know how the hell you're doing this, but, and I'm like, I'm not, the cards are. And that, this deck made me realize if I just get out of my own way, set the ego aside for a second, then I would realize that spirit works in mysterious ways. And it reminded me of why I chose to learn tarot in the beginning, and to begin with, because I was not listening to my guides. I was not listening to spirit. And they're like, if you need proof that what's happening is real, learn tarot. And that's why when people say, oh, how long do you plan on doing tarot? I don't see myself doing tarot forever. At this point, because I think it was just a jumping off point that made me more relaxed enough to be able to open up those mediumship abilities. And this deck has blown that wide open this year. And I love it. For that, I love this tarot deck. It's in my top 10 firmly now. So that is the Uncommon Tarot by Wiser Books, I think. Oh, I do have, that is Wiser Books. I have 2 from Wiser Books this year. In this prompt. So number 2 is a deck that you are thankful someone gifted you this year. The only deck that's ever been gifted to me as birthday or Christmas or whatever is the Tarot for the Great Outdoors. It was gifted to me for my birthday. I was going to buy the deck, and then she was like, no, I'll buy it. Skipstone Publication is the publisher. I freaking love this deck. Haven't used it hardly because the cardstock is paper thin. It sucks. If it was a hair thicker, it would be perfect. Perfect deck. It does bend, it does shuffle everything, but I don't like it. I got this on September 1st. September 2nd is my birthday. I literally went camping the next day after I got this deck. Did some spreads out on the lake. It was fabulous. I so hardcore bonded with this deck over my birthday weekend. I love this freaking death card. I love it to pieces. It's so stunning. All of the majors are a national park in the U.S., and like this one is the Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve, fitting the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, the Waima Canyon State Park, I guess that's Hawaii, the Bend National Park with a little lizard, so cute. Yeah, this is it's a gorgeous deck. I just wish they had made the cardstock a tad thicker. Just a hair. But the artist is fantastic. The cards are beautiful. If you are look at that. The Hermit is the Voyagers National Park. That is stunning. If you are a outdoor person and you also like tarot, this is a must-have because it is fabulous when you're on the road, camping and in the elements. It's fabulous. I just don't like the cardstock. I feel like I'm going to rip the deck any minute. But that is the Tarot for the Great Outdoors. It's the deck that I was gifted this year for my birthday, and I love it. So number 3, a deck that gave you a new perspective on tarot this year. I just got this deck. I haven't barely put it down. It is the Sacred She Tarot. This is by Ma Diva Padma. She's the creator of the Osho Zen Tarot and the Tao Oracle. And OMG. Now, I don't like this cardstock either, but it's thicker than the Great Outdoors. If the Great Outdoors was this thick, I would not have an issue with it. It does bend, but it's like a rubber band. It snaps right back into place. Yeah, it's a perfect shuffle. Beautiful bags. The majors are purple down here. The pentacles are green or earth. Red is wands or fire. Green is earth. Gray is swords or air. And the blue is water or cups. All of the minors have keywords. This is a strength card, which I freaking love it. This one just keeps stalking me, the Four of Pentacles. And it's funny because, wow, I just had an insight. Because this is basically, so the Four of Pentacles is hoarding your money, right? Here, it's almost like consumerism, and they're consuming the world. But it also is, to me, a card of speaking your truth. And the last couple of dreams, the video I'm uploading right now on the World Events spread, I talked a little bit about the last couple of dreams I've had where I'm literally outing people on their crimes and their illegal activities. And it's me vocalizing. So that's quite interesting. Maybe that's why it's been stalking me. Like, you're about to have some weird dreams. Pay attention to them. I cannot. Look at this death card. This is a baby, and it works. It's fantastic. I don't have any of her other decks. I don't need it. This deck is amazing. It has pulled back for me another layer of tarot, because I'm not looking at, is this Two of Swords, or is this? Is this the Wheel? I'm looking at the keyword, and I'm looking at the photo and how it makes me feel. And to me, it all fits. It all works. And I'm just like, look at this. The Blue Whale, the Wisdom, the World card, all in his eye. It just, it's so good. So good. So good. So good. So good. It's a stunning deck also. The images are gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that Fool. Stunning. Stunning. Stunning cards. I love this. This is my Forever Stalker card. I love this Five of Swords, or Five of Wands. It says competition, and then it's two, almost look like two angry dragons fighting. I love it. I love it to pieces. But that is the deck that, what is it, number 3? A deck that gave you a new perspective on tarot this year. This is it. And, yeah, I highly encourage this deck for anybody. Just, if you want to deepen your perspective on tarot meanings, this is the deck for you. It's a fabulous deck, and the book is good, too. I actually got it laying here somewhere, right here. This is the book. It's thick and lovely. So, card 4. A deck that offered you comfort in a dark time this year. And that is going to be my Forger's Daughter Tarot. I told you guys, this is a Dawn Michelle made me do it. Love the gilding on the sides. Love the linen cardstock, even though it's linen. I like it, but I like it because it doesn't slip. It's got some kind of coating protecting it. This is I think it's called Fairlight Edition. There's several extra cards. When I did my walkthrough, I revealed in that walkthrough, I had a dawning moment of why this deck stalked me until I bought it. Was because this deck is my paternal grandmother in a deck. She died when I was 17. I'm now 47. So it's been, 30 years since she passed? No, take that back. I was 19 when she passed. So it's been almost 30 years since she passed. I didn't know she passed until she was already gone and buried. And I was so heartbroken. Because with the home life I grew up with, my grandma knew. And was helpless to kind of prevent things from happening. My mother and father divorced when I was 4. She was always there when she could be. Look at that. And she was the one person in my tumultuous life up till I left home that was always there for me. She was always had my back. She was also the type of person that would give you the shirt off her back, even if she couldn't afford it. She was always trying to make everyone else comfortable. And I adored her for that. And then, I love this. When I started my spiritual journey, she was literally the first one there. I actually did a meditation, my first meditation ever. And I literally could feel her grabbing my hand. And I knew she was there. It was before I realized that I was a medium. And I was just like floored that she showed up. Then we wound up having this whole conversation where I felt sadness from her. And I'm like, why are you sad? And it was her saying that she couldn't, she felt bad. Even in death, she had felt bad because she couldn't prevent things from happening, certain things happening to me when I was younger growing up. And I was like, it's not your fault. You need to let that go. And it's almost like she was asking for forgiveness for something that she didn't need forgiveness for. And she'd been holding on to that. And it was me opening up and beginning my spiritual journey was her way of getting in there and being like, hey, we need to chat. And then when I saw this deck this past year, I'm just like, why am I attracted to this deck? And then I got it and I realized it's her in a deck. My grandmother, that I felt like once we had talked our things out, she was forever gone. And now I have a piece of her. It feels like always with me in The Forger's Daughter. And I've talked about that many times because I got this deck this year. It's been stalking me since probably middle of last year. And I just kept seeing it on Dawn Michelle's channel. And I'm like, I gotta buy it. And I went and bought it. And then I went and, while I was waiting for it, watched a walkthrough. And it dawned on me during her video. I started crying. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my grandmother. And then when I got the deck and I did a walkthrough, I almost started bawling through the walkthrough because it was just, she was there. You could feel it. And every time I get this deck out, I can feel her presence. It's amazing. And I love it. And that's my deck that's been comforting me this year in my darkest times. And I'm rambled on. So number 5, a deck that you're thankful you took a chance on this year. And that is the Rosebud Tarot. Because let me tell you, this is also Wiser Books. They're putting out some good decks this year. This was a indie. It turned mass market. Wiser Books picked it up. I can tell you right now, if the Great Outdoors had this card stock, I wouldn't be mad at it, even though this sucks too, this cardboard. This is a thicker card stock, even though it's, no, it's not Wiser Books. Okay. I'm just saying, they could have had a better card stock. I love this deck. It's a collage deck. I'm like, I must be leaning more toward collage decks because... and this is also a mediumistic read for me. I started reading it for my sister-in-law with this deck, and there's 3 specific times I read for her, with this specific deck that I was like, hey, I need to ask you a couple questions as I was reading it to clarify things. And I'm like, has this and this and this happened? And has this and this and this happened? And she's like, how did you know? Because she hadn't told anybody. I was like, the cards, no. So between this and the Uncommon Tarot, they really boosted my mediumship abilities this year, like severely. Because not only am I seeing it in the cards, but I'm getting that instant validation. Not that I need it, but I'm getting instant validation from these people when I'm doing these readings with these cards. So something's working. So the last one is a deck that has become a workhorse deck for you. This is a Make Playing Cards deck I got when I first started my journey 4 years ago, almost 5. Third Eye Ascension Tarot, I got on Make Playing Cards. It's got the beautiful Make Playing Cards cardstock. I edged it in black. It bled horribly. I have not used this deck until this year. And when I say I've not used this deck, I have not used this deck. I was like, I made a mistake. The horrible job I did on the edging is horrible. And then all of a sudden, a few months ago, something said, hey, why don't you pull that deck off the shelf? And I've been nonstop using it since. And I'm like, what is happening? All of a sudden, we're clicking, we're connecting. I'm using it for mediumship readings. I'm using it for basic readings. Whatever you want, I got you through this deck. And I'm like, I don't understand this because it's been on a shelf for 4 years. So this has become a workhorse deck for me this year, this specific deck. Even though this is the one out of all these decks I've had prior to this year. I've never used it. It just sat there. And it's also a deck that could teach me a lesson. And hey, maybe we don't judge a book by its cover and we just wait. I'm realizing every deck I buy for a reason. And this one showed itself this year why. And it's amazing and I love it. And it's slowly climbing up to on my top 20 ever. So yeah, that is my prompts for the hashtag thankful. I can't remember. Hashtag Thankful Tarot 23. And they said something about doing this every year. That's going to be exciting to do this every year. But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.